Have you ever wanted to build a form like a TypeForm on your WordPress website, but didn't want to spend nearly $1,000 a year to make it happen? Well, I've got the solution for you. Hey everyone, I'm Doug from Convology, and in this video, I want to show you a fantastic update to what's already the best form processor for WordPress called Fluent Forms. Fluent Forms just added their conversational form layout, and it's actually better in many ways than Typeform. So let's dive in and take a look at this tool and how we can implement this in our business. Fluent Forms is having an awesome deal right now. They've brought back their lifetime deal at the discounted price. It's an amazing offer, and you can get that. I'll put a link somewhere in the description. If you haven't already purchased Fluent Forms, I highly recommend it. So let's dive in and take a look at this new conversational form that rivals Typeform. So when you create a new form in their interface, first off, this stuff is really intuitive and simple. You just create a new form and they give you some of these default layouts to choose from. I typically don't use any of these. I typically start every form as a new blank form if I'm not already copying something that I have existing on my website. But now we have this new option here called the conversational form. And you can already see the little preview they have of it shows that it starts to look like a Typeform. But let's go ahead and click create form on this. And I want to walk through the interface, show you how it works, and then talk to you about some of the ways you could implement this and use this in your business. So at first glance, this doesn't necessarily look like a Typeform. It looks more like a standard contact form with everything stacked on top of each other. But if I do a quick preview, just so we can make sure we're not crazy here, you can see that this already has started to take shape in the form of something that is conversational, right? It's one question at a time. It's a slick interface. You can see a blinking cursor. It just gives that more immersive, almost like more of a dynamic experience where you know you're going to be cycling through a form kind of like in real time as you fill it out. It's just, I think the word is polished, glossy. It's just a elevated experience that I think we all want on our forms. So if we jump back to the editor here, and again, jumping back and forth, you can see that all of these fields, whether it be the label input, right? This is your typical form processor, the label input or the placeholder, all of those things are customizable. So right off the bat, this is exactly like a normal Fluent form. As you hover over each of the elements, we have the contextual tools here. We can delete, we can duplicate, we can edit. For example, if we click on the pencil icon to edit, we can edit the placeholder. So I could say, enter your email below, right? And that automatically updates in real time. And then the placeholder, if I wanted to change it from email address to email, I would simply hit delete. That looks nice. It's all real time, really simple, changing something to be required or not, and then entering in the error message if they fill it out incorrectly. We also have the ability to go in again to our advanced options. So this is all the same with Fluent Forms. If you're familiar with Fluent Forms already, you're going to be a pro at this. But under the advanced options here, we can change things like adding a help message, which is that little info icon that somebody can see if we wanted to add info. And then we can set some things on the back end that are a little more technical for integrations with other tools. Now, one of the things we can also do, and it carries over into this new conversational form layout, is we can do conditional logic. So for example, if you turn on conditional logic, and you choose the field here, you can essentially choose any of the fields on the form and then choose whether or not it's equal or is not, and then choose what that input is, and this field will show or not. Really powerful stuff that's on the normal Fluent Forms. A normal Fluent Form layout carries over to this conversational style. So let's play around with this, take a look. Again, this is the first time that I'm jumping in and playing around with this. Everything else I've seen is from their marketing materials that they emailed over, and that's on their website. So we have, by look here, it looks like we have all of the typical stuff that we would have on our normal Fluent Forms. For example, let's put some checkboxes in here. Maybe we want a checkbox after our email, and we could say something to the effect of choose from the options below, and we'll just leave them item 1, 2, and 3 by default. Now, if we say save form and let's preview this, let's see what this looks like. First, let's just show you the other feature here. You can drag and drop, super polished and easy, drag and drop, and there's even the plus sign between elements. I don't remember that, so that's kind of cool. You can click to drop in, but let's preview that. Save our form in preview. Okay, that's really clean. Looks like they can choose as many as they want, and there's that little contextual clue there. Choose as many as you like. Now, if I jump back over here to the form itself and I click in to look at some of our customization options, one thing I'm looking for is that choose as many as you like. And so it's not under advanced options here. So if we go at the top here to our design option, which is new, this is unique to the conversational layout. Typically it would be in a design and preview, but this is really, really nice. This level of customization is something that I hope that they bring to all of Fluent Forms, because you can see here, if we were to change the question color, we can enter our hex codes. So I'll enter my hex codes for my brand. Maybe I want my buttons to be my brand color, and then I want my answers to be my other brand color, and hit OK. Oops, messed that up. Hashtag, enter the hex code. There we go. Now they're my brand color. One thing I'm still looking for is choose as many as you like here. So let's go over to meta. And yeah, it looks like this is going to be our translation area, right? Where you can change text. And there it is. Choose as many as you like. You can enter choose any above. That's not necessarily better than what they had already. And let's see if it saves it. If we go back, nope, it did not save it. So one of the things that we'll want to do is click save there and then jump back over, and now it saves it. Okay, that's good to know. So some things we can do here that I think are awesome. Now I have the pro version of Fluent Forms. Again, it's on a lifetime deal at the time of this video, but it's always an amazing offer. If you're like me, I have over 100 clients, and typically when I build and maintain websites for them, I put Fluent Forms on their website. It just integrates with all of their marketing automation tools, and it's just a fantastic option for them, and it gives them features like this. So I have the unlimited license, and right now the unlimited license is on a big discount. So if you serve clients and you want to give them an experience like this, I think it makes you look good. Or if you have a website and you have more than one website, it wouldn't hurt to get one of the licenses right now that lets you use this on multiple sites. So one of the things, speaking of which, one of the things you'll want to do is white label this a little bit, right? And so instead of saying powered by Fluent Forms, we can just turn that off, right? So it feels powered by us. So one of the things that I noted here on the meta section, I had to save my settings. It does look like you'll need to save your settings on each of these. So if we wanted to change back to our brand colors, which I do, we are going to need to hit save every time, which is fine. And then we've got our branding disabled, our button. Always put that pound sign hashtag in there to save the settings. And so the button option did save the arrows in the bottom right as well. I thought that's pretty cool. One thing that looks really neat here is down at the bottom center, we can toggle between what it looks like on a mobile device and a desktop. That's really cool. I'm already starting to think of ways that I'm going to use this. I do a lot of form processing work for clients, whether it be order forms or on medical clients. I do a lot of like questionnaires. This is going to be a big game changer on a mobile experience, because what's really cool about this, and a feature that I saw in their marketing materials, one of the features is that you can give this its own page so that it fills the whole frame. Another option is you can embed it on any page like you would a Fluent Form to begin with. That's really impressive. Like imagine that's what it looks like on your mobile device. That's just going to look great for you on your website or for your clients. So we also have the option here to add a background image. It would fill the whole background. I don't think that's something that I would necessarily do unless I had like an image, maybe my logo just really like ghosted and transparent on the background. That could look kind of cool. I don't have that done, so I'm not going to bother putting that in. The last two options we have are disable scroll to next. That's interesting. Scroll to next. Oh, I used my mouse wheel. Another really great feature is the ability to choose fonts. So by default, it seems to use System UI, which I think looks actually really nice. It's kind of very similar to the typical TypeForm. But if your site used, let's say, Roboto, you can do a search, and it seems to pull Google fonts nicely. So if Google, or if Roboto was your thing, Roboto is a font that I use throughout my website. I also use Open Sans, but I think in this case, Roboto is the winner. So I'd hit save. One defining feature that I think is worth mentioning here is something that's not on a typical form processor. It's a layout settings where it appears here that you can shift the question and place an image to the right or to the left of the question. So we can choose to put an image on the right, an image on the left, or have that effect of like a full screen image. That would look really nice on the landing page layout instead of the embedded layout, and it can go on left or right. So for example, we could put that image on the right, and like that they put one in there for us, and then preview that. If we get started, That's really nice. That's just something that I think you can do that on a per question basis. So I'm already thinking about one particular client that I have right now where their form, well, two clients. I have one that does like food products. So if they were asking a question about, I don't know, pineapples or coconuts, I'm looking at this palm tree over here, you could have the picture of the food item. Another one I'm thinking about works with dog joints and supplements. And they have questions like, is your dog slow to get up in the morning? And you can have a picture of a dog being slow, or, talking about jumping in the car, going upstairs. You can have a picture that illustrates the question that you're asking. I think that just fits so much in line with this style of form. This is a really impressive layout, and I definitely like this full screen effect. So again, this is something that you'd want to consider putting into your form if you were doing the landing page layout rather than just the embedded layout. Now we can do a couple of things. We can go to the Share tab, and this gives us the option to share via a direct URL. So if we copy that, and then we can preview it. Let's go in the top right and hit preview. It just looks so clean and nice. This is how I think I would show a form to a visitor. That way you can choose the options, enter your name, hit enter. Wow, that's really good. Hit enter, really cool. You can share it that way, where it gives like a clean, just page dedicated to your form. It's probably what I'll do in most cases. They also give you the typical shortcode. So if we copy that, we can embed the shortcode anywhere on our site. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So I'm just in my site using Thrive Architect. It's my page builder of choice. I'm just going to add a simple text element. This is just the normal way I would put text on a page. I'm going to paste in that shortcode, and then I'm going to click Save Work and Preview. And cool, it loads the entire thing. It's apparently responsive because it loaded up nicely right within the space that I gave it. And I can interact with it just like I would. It perfectly fills the space. If we jump back, let's say that I wanted to put this within a content box, and I wanted to take that text, put it in the content box, and then I wanted to shrink that content box to only allow it to fit a smaller space. Let's take a look and see what happens there. So sure enough, it fills the space you allot it. So in Thrive Architect, a content box is a great way to contain something and then to adjust its positioning, whether that be the X or the Y axis or the Z index. We can essentially place that on top of a background. We can use absolute positioning. We can really get this form wherever we want it to go. So cool little tip there. If you use Thrive Architect, put it in a content box. It works really, really well. And it still looks amazing, even condensed, because if you recall, it's mobile responsive, so it's going to look great on a phone as well. Now, if we jump back to the sharing options here, we also have the standard shortcode. This looks very familiar. If I copy that shortcode and I go to my page, and let's say I replace that shortcode with this one, and I preview that, sure enough, it just looks like a standard contact form, right? This is what a Fluent Form would typically look like, with no styling, just your default options. So perhaps in some places you'd want your form to look traditional, in some places you wouldn't. It's a neat option that they've given. I don't think that I'll ever use it, but it's there. So that's kind of interesting. So let's come back here. The last little section I want to look at here under the share section is this embed via HTML code. Interestingly, they didn't capitalize the L there. It says right here, want to use this form in another domain? Oh, or another site, or even outside WordPress. Oh, wow. Use the following code. Well, I think that's worth a test. Let's do our first test by putting it on another of our websites, and then maybe another test and see if we can't put it into something like a convert box. All right, so here I am on my course website. This is just my member dashboard where my users can come, they can view all their courses, they can see their profile, and then they can get some support. So right now, if my users go to the support page, this is what they see, a very standard form, but let's play with this and let's see what will happen if I edit this with Thrive Architect and add in this form as a conversational form from my other website. So let's come into here, and since we copied an iframe, let's add our custom HTML element from Thrive Architect, and let's paste that in and click save. I can already see it's appeared. So if we get rid of this extra, I'll have to come back and put that back in, but let's save the work and hit preview. There it is. It does have a scroll bar, which is a little less than ideal. So if we jump back and we look at the custom HTML, it looks like it's giving us a height here of 500 pixels. Min height is 500 as well. Let's see if I set that min height to 800 and click save. There we go. Now it's gone. So if you have the scroll bars and you want to come in and mess with it, maybe set the min height to something like 600. You might have to play with this, and there might be a scroll bar. It could also be tied to the container that I put it in Thrive Architect. Just know that if you save that and preview that, that looks really cool. So imagine if I were going to have this be a support form, they could choose the type of support that they were looking for. All right, so here we are in ConvertBox. This is a tool for lead gen, audience segmentation, email marketing. It's just a fantastic tool. So if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. But let's see if we can add our conversational Fluent Form into a ConvertBox element. So ConvertBox can bring in light boxes, full screen takeovers, bottom slide-ins, ribbons. But I'm going to try a container like this, which is just like a light box. So let's add our custom HTML element, and then let's grab our HTML code and paste that in. Right away, it works. Holy cow. That's awesome. So again, a little adjustment here. We're going to want our container to be a little bit bigger than 500 pixels. So I'd find that min height. I think we decided 600 was good. You might need to adjust that number based on the questions. Like if this had 8 items, I'm going to assume you'd want it to be taller. There's other things you can do in HTML that will hide that scroll bar and make it invisible. But that's a quick little tip. You can just edit the min height. But if we click close, that works. That completely works. You could have this come up on your website. You could have it be like one of those survey forms. You could have this slide in from the bottom right. In fact, let's play around with that real quick. Let's change this convert box into a bottom slide in. Okay, so let's choose the callout modal, I guess is what they call it. And then let's choose one that's just really simple. Sure, simple message. Let's delete everything from that. Delete that button as well. Drag in our HTML element, click on it, paste in our code. Wow, that's awesome. Again, we're going to need to adjust this. Changing it to 600 seems to be, again, the perfect number here. Wow, that's so cool. Imagine if that opened up on your site, whether you had a Shopify site. Again, this is focused on TypeForm for WordPress Alternative, right? So if you had a WordPress site, but you were WooCommerce and you wanted to get customer feedback, or you wanted to ask someone, hey, would you like a coupon code? Give us your email and we'll send it to you, or we'll give it to you right away, right? You could slide this out and it would just be a really conversational, they just cycle through this. That's really, really cool stuff. And again, the same thing would work with Thrive Leads. But again, we're looking at the HTML on a completely separate website from our primary domain where we set up our conversational form. I'm really impressed with that feature. Imagine one implementation would be if you built forms for people and you didn't want to install, like I'm just running through scenarios here, it's what I do. So imagine if you only had a license for one site, but you wanted to embed these forms on all of your client websites. I mean, think about it. I could have Convology.com. I could build a form for each of my clients. I could embed that form on their site, and inside of the form settings, let's just jump in and take a look at that while I talk. So right here inside of settings and integrations, you could actually choose, like if someone fills it out on the client site and it was based on your site, you could send people to a page or to a custom URL and have this be a thank you page on your client's website. You could have an email notification where you could say, when this form is this particular form, when this is filled out, where does it go? That's really awesome. So if you want to have a central hub where all of your data comes in, probably not a good idea between you and me. If I were you, I would not do it this way because you have one point of failure for all your clients, just asking for problems. But you could do it if you really, really wanted to. So really, really cool idea to be able to embed it on other sites. I'm saying really a lot. But again, really cool idea. And then now take the conversational form that we just looked at and combine that with e-commerce. Combine that with payment solutions. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So just in terms of the normal integrations that work with Fluent Forms here, we have all the standard ones. We could create user accounts. I have tutorials on this website, in fact, that use various form processors to create a WordPress account for a user. Somebody could make an account and sign up as an actual user on your website directly through this. We have everything from webhooks, which means it integrates with almost everything. Zapier, MailChimp, ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, everything, right? Everything that's pretty big out there is available here with a default integration. And again, Zapier and webhooks make it pretty much anything that you want. So one thing I did see that was missing from the conversational forms were some of the advanced fields and the payment options. So if I create a new Fluent form, like a new blank form, and I come down here, we have payment fields and we have some advanced fields, and then we have our general fields. If I go back to my conversational form, you can see here we have several different options, a little bit of like a mix and a match. It looks mostly like standard fields. So it looks like these are fields built specifically for conversational forms. So it looks to me like we can't necessarily use this as a payment form, but we do have the makings of a form that can create accounts on your website. We have something that can submit pretty much everything a standard form would have. And we even have this special welcome screen where if I click preview, you can see, again, it's kind of like that welcome get started. So again, a perfect way to welcome somebody to just a page that's blank and clean like this. So one thing I would like to see in the future is payments worked into this. I think that there's a lot of potential there. If you're not someone that uses like Thrivecart, I could see if you are someone that uses Thrivecart, you could get them to fill out a conversational form and then redirect them to your checkout and then pass those variables from your conversational form directly into Thrivecart and auto-populate everything. That would be a really cool video, note to self. So I think that in the future, integrating the Stripe and the PayPal options into this form would be something I'd really like to see. All right, so to kind of wrap things up here, if you are interested in getting Fluent Forms, I have a link in the description, and you can see here, it's a no-brainer for a single site, $149 one time. Compare that to $83-ish or $89 a month for something like TypeForm, over $1,000 a year. That's a no-brainer. I, full disclosure, bought my own license. I have the $499 lifetime deal. I use it on all of my client websites, all of my websites, and it's worked perfect. So if you like what you saw in the conversational form and you think that would be additive to your business, I'm changing all my forms, I think, over to the conversational style. It's just a better experience in my mind. It sets you apart. It's different. It looks polished. If that's something you like, definitely check it out. And I look forward to making more tutorials on Fluent Forms and integrations using the conversational elements in the future. So that'll do it for me. Again, I'm Doug at Convology, and I'll see you in the next video.